Then I had Ezra do his writing exercise, and I let him play video games for 30 minutes. He didn't have homework. He didn't get any notes either. But he went to bed at 9, and that's a few minutes after he went to bed is when you woke up. All right. Okay. Let's do another observe analysis. Got a little bit of a stuffy nose here. Share the link. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna get to bed kind of early, so I'm probably gonna keep this episode kind of short. But we'll do a few binaries and a few play-by-plays, and we'll look at just another example of an income building product. And if we see something develop, we might stay on a little longer, but we're just going to do our weekly session just to keep things consistent. Just to show you what I'm waiting for, let's see, I'm just going to bring up some random income building product. Let's bring this one up, because they're all gonna have pretty much the same type of features. So this is just going to be an example of what I look for, or what I wait for the market to show me. And if we see something like this, then that'll let you know that it's time to make a move. So let's just look at an example. We can fast forward it to the 1.5 minute point. Oops. Okay. Well, we'll keep it there. All right, let's just take a look at it. What I want you to pay close attention to is the indicative, how it moves, and the pricing and how that moves. Indicative right here, how this moves, and the pricing, how it moves with the indicative. Another thing that I want you to pay close attention to is that you see that the range of movement in all of these candles are within one zone, and they're primarily in one position. So that's what we're looking for, something like that. And this is going to give us a really nice comparison to work with, because if you look here, the movement of the candles are within a nice tight range, but as you can see, according to if we're looking back at our product here, all of these are within one zone, and all of these, they touch this zone, and this zone. So just to compare the two once again, one zone, see, one zone, everything's within one zone. This is on the lower part of the sell position. If we were to draw a line, the sell position extends all the way right there, where this 20 is. So the market's showing us that it's all in the sell position, which gave me the confidence to enter when I did. And going back here, let's exit out of that. Get this out of the way. Going back here, we don't see that same behavior just yet. So that's what we're waiting on. So you'll kind of understand that if I do decide to get out early, it's because I don't see the market developing within one zone, showing me that type of behavior. So right there. This is just keeping a record of how many binaries we've taken a look at. But just for the sake of visual training, this is one of my income building products, and this one actually has an earlier entry than my normal. So we see the clock started, and even before we even click on it, I'm looking at this price and the way that it's moving. You see how it's kind of staying within a range, $5-6 range. Not to say $5-6 range is my requirement. I'm just saying I'm noticing how there's some incrementality there. And then below the minute and 30 mark is typically when I open the window. 9 times out of 10, you'll see my income building products have an entry under the minute. But in this case, because the position is so set and so obvious, once I saw that move from 6 down to 5, that indicative going in favor of the sell and agreeing with the position, with pricing still present, I felt comfortable with entering earlier than the minute. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to see me enter at below the minute mark, just for the quality of the product. But I can kind of tell that, at least at this time, that it was going to be priced out, and I didn't want to enter when it was in this price range right here that you see right now. So in terms of the timing of the entry, it was appropriate for this product and this market, and this is exactly what we want to see. So this is just another. I want to start doing these. I got a suggestion from one of the folks in Team Alliance to start showing these examples, so that way we know what we're really working towards, and we know what we're waiting for. And so this is just a perfect example of that, to the level that you could actually enter before that typical minute mark. But again, that's not something that I normally do. The market was just showing me, with the way that the pricing was incrementally moving and the indicative it was moving within that zone, or within that range of movement that it had already established. And when it did move, it moved away from this strike. All 3 of those made enough sense to me to go ahead and take this trade and add this to my inventory. So with that in mind, we actually haven't observed a binary yet, but this binary right here, it did start in this zone. Where's my recorder? Okay. Where's my, oh, here it is. Yeah, so it started in this zone and it moved down. So we're in 1, 2 zones, and it settled here. But we want to see it establish itself there. It moved there and settled there, but I want to see it establish itself. This, where's my, this is established. The market established itself in a zone and in a position. This, we don't see the market having, the market being established in this zone or in this sell position yet. So I'm waiting to see if the market does that. So starting right here, if it settles and establishes itself within this position, then we'll see it's kind of stay in that box. If it establishes itself inside of the zone, then we'll see it move around within this area without touching that line and without touching that line. That would be the market establishing itself. So right now, if it continues doing exactly this, it would be establishing itself inside of the sell position for this strike right here. But we have way too much time left on the binary for us to be able to say, yeah, this is established. So I'm gonna obviously keep observing to see what happens when it gets closer to the minute mark. Now, for boredom purposes, I like to keep this window up. This is more of a toy. This is close option. This is just another platform that I'm trading the same instrument on, and I can use. I'm not stuck with that 5-minute block. So these entries, and these are based on. This is more based on momentum, continuous motion, whereas Nadex is for the product that I'm demonstrating based on positioning. So over here, we're looking for momentum. We want to see the market either hit an obviously strong touch point, which is, some people call that support resistance, some people call that supply zones and demand zones. I like to call it touch points, but I want to see a strong touch point, in which case I would trade, or I would take an entry in anticipation of that touch point holding its strength. And basically all that means is that, let's use this as an example here. This isn't like, well, actually no, it actually might be a touch point here. So let's say the market were to come back up to this little line here, all right, and it doesn't push through. Well, that means that this touch point still has influence. That means that there's still sell orders waiting to be executed once the market hits there automatically. Now, going back to the main screen, because we're doing play-by-play, we see that the pricing is already out of our range. We want to see like high teens, low 20s, or high 1s, low 2s, but this is 0. And the reason why it's 0, it's not a bad thing, is that because it's at the bottom of its position. 761 is right. 760 is at the very bottom of this sell position. So I expect for the price to be out of our range. Now we see this big jump in price. That's indicative of the market possibly exiting out of this position. So this position is not being established. As a matter of fact, even if it rests back in this position, it's not fully established. It just sustains itself there. So we see the market showing us some at least some curiosity about this zone. But this position overall, because it's touched this side of the strike, this binary, it has a range of movement that touches 2 zones. I don't want any binary that has a range of movement that touches 2 zones, since I'm trading based off of position. If I was trading based off of momentum, then or continuation, essentially the same thing, then it wouldn't be. It would just be, hey, catching the market changing positions and then establishing itself in its new position. But that's a different approach. And I guess the difference between momentum and continuation is that momentum may have a little bit more speed than continuation, whereas continuation is the market just moving in one steady stair-step direction, but wherever it moves to, it's moving with certainty. Mine is more like boom, boom, boom. This is position right here. That's more position. And this is our product. But this can be a product too. It's just not my product. Okay, so hope that makes sense. And look, we're at that touch point again here. But at that touch point, we're not getting a big response. So it's not a strong touch point in the sense that it pushes a certain type of reaction. But at least it got something. And it's gotten it over here too. Can I draw on here? No, I can't. Let me give me some greens. these greens, well, they be hidden. Yeah, so even right here, we're far away from where we would even open the window. But what I would need to see is the market establish itself into this position. But this candle here is straddling two different zones. So there wouldn't be anything for me to do in terms of collecting a product, but I want to see that now that it's moving into this zone, does it settle? And then once it settles, does it establish itself? Does it get comfortable there? I don't know that yet, so we got to keep watching. What's interesting is that this little line here, I'll just make the screen bigger. That little line there, kind of proving to be a pretty influential touch point. See? So just something to take note of. This is not an official touch point because it's only touched once with a big kind of reaction. I'm just seeing if the market once the market comes down to here, I want to see what it does. See if it has any response. Greens, so good. My dad makes the best greens. Everybody got their allergies kind of acting up. Mine are. Let me take care of myself real quick. Yeah, this is the type of behavior that would have me going to do something else. But it's all right. We're committed to the cause. Oh man. Every time the seasons change, allergies want to start acting up. Sinuses want to start acting up. It's just like, what's up with that? Okay. So if you look here and here, that's 2 touches and 2 noticeable responses, reactions. So that's noteworthy. The market may be trying to establish itself within this zone, somewhat at least. Gotta see that position though. Gotta see position. Mama. Girl, you always. Okay, let's take a look. So in terms of a trade, there's nothing for us to see because the price here is already showing us that we're far outside of anything to consider. We've got to at least approach this number. Can't start there. I mean, yeah, you know, if it goes down to 6.3, that's nice, but look at like this thing hasn't changed at all. This number hasn't changed at all. Back in the day, we would call this a stall, but we want to see, okay, now it's moved. Okay, now it's moved back. But each movement, there's a little bit of hold. The barrier's outside the box. Yeah, looks like the barrier's like, about right there. Somewhere around there. What'd you think? That's what it looks like. But it's almost like there is a, I guess you could say, like a secondary barrier. So yeah, it's gone up here. But we've seen 1, 2 instances where the market is staying within that zone. It's just that positionally, it's not lining up yet. But if the market did exactly this or something like it, let's zoom in a little bit. If we saw the market, if I saw that, and the you know, we got down to that entry window, then I'm down for it. Yeah, the bottom strike is more preferable. I see that bottom part right here, oh, you guys can't see it, so let me remove this. Right here, its lowest point is 751. So if there's a barrier there, it's still above this strike within this zone inside of this buy position, which is a good sign. And if we go back, we don't see, we see another instance where the market came down to this buy and it respected what seems to be a barrier there too. So yeah, if we saw the market come down and I don't want to say threaten this strike, but just kind of come up to it, then I'd feel much more comfortable taking this one than I would this one, because this one has already showed that it has cracks in this strike. This one seems much more solid. And what I mean by cracks, right here, crack, 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 right there. So the top part has a little bit of a leak. It doesn't mean that it's all the way out. It's just the integrity of the top right now. This strike right here is not as solid as the integrity of this buy so far. And even this screen here, if we look here, we see the same thing. Crack, crack. But in terms of touch points, I mean, this is the same market, so we're looking at the same thing. But let me see how this one develops. See if it comes back up. See if it shows us any incrementality. Because we're within the position. None of them have violated the position. But this pricing is out of our range. Based on where it's at right now, I should see better pricing. I'd like to see better pricing than where it's at right now, but I guess I'll still record. Yeah. By the way, can you hear me clearly? I didn't even ask. I'm just sitting here talking. So usually always some type of technical mishap that I'll do each episode, and I'll learn from it and make the adjustment for it. Okay, moving down to this strike. I wonder if it'll have the same respect as that it's had within the past 30 minutes. Looking at this one too, keeping an eye. Yeah. I can hear you. I'm a bit iffy on the barrier because I think a barrier can be made inside that box and still be relevant if it's stable enough. I agree. Even with those cracks, if I see some repeated, like if this stayed up here, because everything started inside of this zone and inside of this position, and the indicative and pricing moved incrementally together away from the strike, I would have taken it. But it didn't happen. So, but we still see that it's in one zone. So now that it's at this closer to this strike, this buy right here, I'm even more interested to see if the market remains loyal and respectful to the bottom barrier that at least over the past about 20-30 minutes, it's been a lot stronger on the bottom side. So I'd like to see it come down and kind of visit maybe 753, 752, keep its pricing steady, and then close to the under the minute 15, we see a movement away with pricing. If that happens, then I'd be interested. I'd probably take it. I need to watch your lives more. Normally, I got a collection of your videos I gotta watch. Glad I was able to catch you live. Yeah, man, I'm glad you came on. I usually get on and do these reluctantly because I'll be ready to go to bed. But I committed to doing this, and it's just a part of the whole deal, I guess you could say. Plus, it does help. It does help me when I'm going through these things and talking through them, it does sharpen my vision, and it sharpens my interpretation skills. So it's a win-win for everybody. And then on top of that, it's like, well, each episode I want to, hey, well, how do I make this a little bit more interesting and less boring? Because that's another thing. I'll get on here and I'll start talking to nobody, and I'll get bored as hell. I'll be like, man, I'm ready to get off of this thing. But it's always nice to have somebody come on and, give their perspective, and I might check out another market and get, and yeah, if you do watch other markets, I'll look at them. I usually always look at the euro because that's the pair that I chose. I don't think that we're going to get that buy opportunity on this one, but we are once again approaching that seller's touch point, and that seller's touch point, like I said, its integrity has been challenged. That just means that there's like a crack in the hull of the ship, so water could seep through and enter a different depth. But let's see how it interacts with this strike. We'll record this one. Okay, 27, 28. Well, I guess we'll bring up a sell. 17, big jump, 17 to 5. So we're going over. I wouldn't be looking at this in terms of a trade for the product that I'm collecting. Oh, back drop down. So that touch point's still relevant, just giving us some influence on the behavior. And nothing for us to do in terms of a trade, but the one thing that we can recognize is that the market has, excuse me, the market has some, like, hey, something's happening in this area. Yeah, the market always looks beautiful when you're observing, but I've done a few lives of my own fun